Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to do just a quick video today and show you some of the work that I've been doing here in our homeschool room. As you know, we do homeschool. This will be our second year homeschooling. So we have two kids. My son is my oldest, and he is the only one who's currently in school, and he will be entering first grade. We homeschooled kindergarten last year, and I've made a ton of changes, and one of the biggest changes is setting up a designated space for homeschooling. Now, I know you don't have to have a designated space for homeschooling, but we are fortunate enough that we had the room for it, and the way my brain works and the way my son's brain works, it really just works better for us to have a designated spot where we know that when we're in here, we're focused on school and we're doing what we need to get done, and then after that we can go play and we can go do whatever we want. Now, this is technically a shared space. It's kind of a toy room as well. My son, he is still young enough to play with toys, but he doesn't do as much. He does a lot more imaginative play and playing outdoors and riding his bike and things like that. So mainly it's a playroom for my daughter. But that's fine. She's 18 months old and she's with us during school anyways. And so she can be down on the floor with her toys playing, and we will sit at the table and do school. At least that's my hope going into this first grade year. I just finished this week getting this room set up, but I've put a lot of work into this room over the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to show you how I've got it set up. Okay, so one of the biggest changes that I've made is we added these two bookshelves. I just got these from Walmart.com. They were super cheap. It was like $30 a piece for these. They are definitely not very sturdy. They may not last very long, but for right now, it's solving the storage problem that we had. One of the things that I ran into last year was all of my stuff was just crammed into a closed door cabinet, and it made it really hard for me to find what I needed when I needed. And so now it's just right here. It's more easily accessible. And so I'm gonna bring the camera over and give you a little bit closer look. So I had this poster. I also had the letters around the top last year. But I got this at the Mardell sale this year. And then I got this. This is actually by Can Do Kids, and I got the Can Do Kids book set at the homeschooling convention we went to last year. That convention was just so good as far as figuring out different resources and getting ideas on how to change up our homeschool. So if you're struggling or if you just need some ideas, I highly recommend looking into the conventions. But let me just kind of go through what we have. On this top shelf, I have just our curriculum stack, and then some of my supplies and our two box sets that we have here of our books. And then on this shelf, we just have some of our KiwiCo kits that we have not yet had time to put together. So we will work on those. And then I have our phonics word family flip books, our little mini microscope. That was actually a gift from my aunts for my son for his birthday. And so that's going to be awesome for school. And then we have just a few other books here as resources. And then down on the bottom, two shelves on each bookshelf is just some toys for my daughter when she's entertaining herself while we're doing school. Those are all things that she can freely access and play with. And then over here, we have a couple of bins of some flashcards and some fun learning games. Uno could be a good learning game. We have a math game in here with dice. We have some Brain Quest. And then down here, we have all of our Hooked on Phonics sets. We're currently working through Hooked on Phonics. We have some of the readers for Hooked on Phonics down here. So I just like to keep those organized. And then a few of the books from our curriculum stack that didn't fit on this shelf. So that's there. My supplies up here on the top. And then we have our class reward jar. My son is very much praise motivated. So at the end of every good day he has, he gets to put a smiley face in there. And when that jar is full, he gets to pick a prize. So we could be going to the movies. It could be a special ice cream treat. Just whatever it is within reason, we will allow for his reward there. I also got a couple of different posters at the Mardell sale that I went ahead and put on the wall here. Now, we do plan on taking this door out. Our bathroom is in through that door, and we absolutely hate the barn door. The room that I'm standing in used to actually be an outdoor porch. So this house is 125 years old, and this used to be an outdoor seating porch. And at some point in time, they closed it in and made it an interior room. So there is nothing level about this room. It's just kind of thrown together. We love this room. We love the view out of our windows. We love the natural light, but it makes it difficult for a lot of things. Like our bookshelves, they are mounted to the wall so they don't fall over, especially having young children. But then it makes it hard for this barn door. It doesn't stay on the track very well. Plus you have small kids pulling it out all the time. It's not a lot of privacy because you really can't lock it without the kids being able to pull it. Now we do have a hook and eye at the top, but the kids can't reach that when they're in there. And so it's just not working. So we do have a door that we are going to change and put on that. And when that happens, we'll have to fix the wall and repaint a little bit. Got a couple of spots here where a poster ripped the paint off. So I will have to fix that as well. But I'm gonna put a chalkboard here at some point. I'm gonna make one. And so I'm leaving that space for that. Apologize if you hear the air conditioner. Like I said, this house was built 125 years ago. So central air was not really a thing. And because of that, there's no room for us to install ductwork to have central air. So for the time being, we are reliant on our window units, and they can be pretty loud sometimes. Hopefully my microphone will help drown some of that noise out. But it just is what it is. It would be very hot and uncomfortable in here if it was not running. So I'm very thankful for it, even though it is loud. But I want to talk about this cabinet. This was originally all we had to house all of our homeschool supplies. And it just didn't really work very well because there was too much stuff in there that you couldn't keep it organized. And now it just kind of holds the overflow. So in here, I have things like some extra art supplies. I have air dry clay, Play-Doh sensory kits, things like that. And then my laminator is in there. And then I have mostly empty drawers, which is great, so I can continue to store things. But in this top drawer, I have things like page protectors and pocket folders and things like that. So that works really well. And then I bought this. It's actually 2 pieces, but I'm not currently using the second one. So it's just sitting here until we need it. But it organizes a lot of our paper. So we have some white cardstock, some construction paper. We have some bright colored cardstock, and then just some coloring books and worksheets and things like that. And then I'm also housing some of our extra notebooks. We plan on doing quite a bit of notebooking. I'm going to do another video talking about my curriculum choices for this year and why we're changing so many things about how we actually do our homeschool. And so I'll talk about these in that video, but I've got some extra notebooks here, and they're just blank to be filled out by my son as we go through the school year. So far that's working really well to house a lot of our paper products. And then I wanted to do something fun. So each one of these, they're just little plastic bins. They were like a set of 4 for $2 or $3 at Mardell on that sale. And so in each one, there's just some random art supplies. And then he always has access to colored pencils, oil pastels, watercolors, glue, scissors, that kind of thing. And so there's just a bunch of different things in each of these. And like I said, they are all different. And so he can choose something creative to make. So I can put this down in front of him. If I need to focus one-on-one with Maggie, he can do this without me hovering. And so it gives him a little bit of creative expression and some independent work time as well. So I really like those. And then my son has been really into drawing. And this was a Christmas or a birthday gift, I don't remember. But my parents bought this for him, and it's 501 things to draw. And so I'll just open it up and show you. It shows you step by step how to draw different things. And so I thought that would be something fun that he could sit down, and it doesn't really need a lot of my attention, so I can be working with his sister and he can be entertaining himself. So we've got that there. And now I want to show you our work table. We got this table at an auction for $25 a year ago, and we started using it as our kitchen table. And the reason for that originally was because we were using Kyle's grandmother's table, and it was a beautiful antique table, and I was just petrified that we were going to be the ones to ruin it while we had small children. And so it was like I was constantly drying water stains and or water spills and things like that, and it was a lot of stress for me. And so we put that in storage. We wrapped it up really nicely and put that beautiful table in storage for a time when our children are no longer small, and I feel more comfortable using it. It's a beautiful table, and I just really didn't want to mess it up. So it's in storage waiting for a different season of life. And so we bought this table on an auction for like 25 bucks because it was actually an old public library table, and that library had undergone some renovations, and so they auctioned everything off that was older or didn't fit into the renovations. And it's got a little bit of damage in one little corner, but you can't really tell. And so we used it as a table in our kitchen for a year. And then I decided to buy another table from that same auction company for $25 to replace the kitchen table so that we could move this into our homeschool room and have our designated space. So we have another ugly table in our dining room for $25 that we can destroy while our kids are little and not care about it. And we moved this into the homeschool room. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and I'm gonna show you our setup. All right, so like I said, that's our old cabinet, a little area for my daughter to be playing, and then just a cute little rug that I got at the Mardell sale. And then this is that old public library table that we got for 25 bucks. And it's solid, it's sturdy, we love it. What I really love about it is I usually sit right here and Miles sits right here. So he has plenty of space to work and I can be right next to him helping him. That seems to work the best for both of us for how we learn. So what we do, we leave the chairs at the dining room table because we didn't want to buy extra chairs. We're just trying to keep things frugal. And then also because my daughter climbs. If we were to put chairs in here and leave them, she would be up on this table coloring with his colored pencils, ripping papers, just making an absolute mess. So we leave them in the dining room for right now. But I really love the view that we have. So we live on a farm and it's kind of hard to see. Let me just open the door so you can see our view. So we live on a farm, and this is what my son gets to look at when we do homeschool. And it is just so beautiful. I love all the natural light that comes through, and it just gives him a little bit of a feeling of being in nature. And so that is partially why we chose this room for homeschool. And I just really love the natural light. That helps me. I hate overhead lighting. And so a lot of times we don't even turn the lights on. If there's enough light to see, we just do school with the natural light. But I'm able to have pretty much everything that we use on a day-to-day basis is in this basket here. And then I have my teacher's binder, and I'll go over all of this in another video. But I like to keep all of that right there so it's easily accessible for me. I've got my Bible for when we do scripture work. And then we've got just a couple of resources. We're learning a lot about time and money this year. And so I've got those posters there for him to look at. And then this is just a stack of some of our library books that I want to keep out of my daughter's reach. We'll talk about those as well in that other video where we go over our curriculum picks. We have all of the supplies that my son would need during any of his lessons. We have colored pencils and crayons, glue sticks and Elmer's glue. We have some magic markers, oil pastels. We have some watercolors, some paintbrushes, and then of course pencils. So all of that he has access to pretty much at any time. If he wants to come in here and color, he's more than welcome to. If he's doing an arts and crafts, he has access to that. So I just leave that there for him. And then this is kind of my storage system. So in the state of Missouri, we are required to keep work samples and a track and a log of how many hours we have completed for school. So this is his kindergarten work. And so I will